The night the Shadow Wing returned, every torch in the kingdom died at the same moment. The sky split open with a roar no living soul had heard in 500 years. Men dropped their weapons. Queens forgot to breathe. Because the creature gliding above the castle wasn't supposed to exist anymore. The kingdom of Arenthal had known peace for decades. Peace bought with a lie. A lie that dragons were extinct. But tonight, that lie shattered. High above the Blackstone Keep, a massive shape circled the moon. Its scales were black as obsidian, glowing faintly with veins of crimson fire. Each beat of its wings sent tremors through the frozen air. The soldiers on the eastern wall pressed together, terrified. "What is that thing?" One whispered, but Captain Rin knew. His father had told him stories he was warned never to repeat. "It's a Shadow Wing," Rin muttered. "A Deathbinder. A Kingbreaker." The creature dipped lower, and for a moment its eyes locked with his ancient eyes. Intelligent eyes. Eyes filled with anger. And something worse purpose. Inside the castle. Princess Kayla ran through the dim hallways, clutching a glowing shard of dragonstone to her chest. She wasn't running from the dragon. She was running to it, because she could hear a voice inside her mind. "I have returned, child of fire. Bring me what is mine." Her heart raced. Nobody knew about the shard. Nobody knew she possessed the last surviving piece of a dragon's heart. And nobody knew she could hear dragons, not even the king. If she told him, he would burn her at the stake. Just like her mother, far below the castle in the forgotten dungeons. An iron door trembled from the force of the dragon's roar. Chains rattled. Dust fell. Inside, a man with silver hair lifted his head for the first time in years. His eyes opened golden, slit like a dragon's. He smiled. "So, the Shadow Wing has awakened," he whispered. "That means the prophecy is moving." He pulled at his chains and felt them crack. He wasn't fully human. Not anymore. He was the last Drakenblood warrior, part human, part dragon, imprisoned because he knew the truth the king wanted buried. The dragons were not extinct. They were coming back for their throne. The Shadow Wing roared again, this time unleashing a stream of pitch-black flame. It didn't burn, it erased. Stone melted. Metal evaporated. Soldiers screamed. Captain Rin watched in horror. "This is not a creature of nature," he whispered. "This is a creature of vengeance." Below the wall, the gates to the castle burst open. Kayla ran into the courtyard, raising the dragonstone shard toward the sky. The Shadow Wing turned instantly, its eyes flared red. Its wings folded in. It dived, straight toward her. Just before the dragon reached her, the silver-haired prisoner tore through the dungeon gate, roaring with a voice half human, half dragon. "Kayla, get away from it." She froze. How did he know her name? Why did the dragon stop midair? And why? Did the Shadow Wing bow its head to the prisoner? The courtyard of Blackstone Keep was chaos, soldiers running. Flames crackling, the thick smell of scorched stone burning in the air. Yet in the middle of the storm, everything froze as the great Shadow Wing lowered its massive head toward the silver-haired prisoner. Princess. Kayla could only stare. The creature feared by every kingdom was bowing not to the king, not to the armies, but to a chained, wounded prisoner who had looked half dead an hour ago. The man's golden, dragon-slit eyes gleamed faintly as he stepped forward. Pieces of broken iron still hanging from his wrists. "Rise," he said softly, not to Kayla, but to the dragon, and the beast obeyed. The massive wings folded. The giant head lowered. The red crackled eyes softened. Kayla's breath stopped. Who are you?" The man turned to her slowly. "I am the last Drakenblood," he said. "My name is Eric." She stepped back, heart pounding. "A half-dragon. Those were wiped out in the purge." "My father, your father, led the purge," Arik said sharply. "He hunted us. He hunted your mother." Kala froze. Her blood felt suddenly cold. "My mother died from fever," she whispered. Eric's expression darkened. "That's the lie he raised you on. Your mother was executed because she carried the voice of dragons, the same gift you now possess." A sharp wind blew across the courtyard. Kella's grip tightened on the glowing dragonstone shard. She had heard whispers all her life, whispers she was terrified to admit, whispers that spoke in the voice of dragons. The shadow wing lowered its head beside Auric, the ground trembling under its weight. Soldiers on the castle walls lifted their crossbows. Trembling, Auric raised a hand. "Stand down," he commanded. The soldiers hesitated, not because they wanted to obey, but because the dragon's eyes shifted toward them with slow, deadly warning. Kayla looked between Auric and the shadow wing. "What does it want?" she asked. Auric stepped closer to her, eyes softening. It came for the shard, the heartstone of its kin. Kayla felt heat pulse from the stone in her hands. The faint light glowed brighter each second the dragon stared at her. "But why me?" she whispered. "Because of what you are," Auric said. "You can hear dragons. You can call them. You are the last dragon speaker." Her vision blurred with fear. No, that's impossible. That bloodline died out centuries ago." He stepped closer. "Your mother did not die from fever. She hid the truth to protect you. She was a dragon speaker, one of the last. And your father discovered her power." Kayla felt the world tilt around her. "My father killed her?" Auric's golden eyes softened. He believed dragons were a threat he could control by erasing their kind. "Your mother stood in his way." Kella's mind burned with 1,000 questions. But another sound cut through her thoughts, a distant horn from the castle walls. 3 short blasts. A warning call. More dragons. Kayla looked to the sky. Shadows multiple circling above the clouds. Auric exhaled. "The shadow wing has called the others." It was the first to awaken. The rest follow. Kayla looked horrified. "Are they coming to destroy us?" Auric's jaw tightened. "No. They are coming to claim what is theirs. The land that was stolen, the sky that was caged, and the child of their bonded speaker." Kella's heart stopped. "Me." A deafening roar answered her question. The largest dragon she had ever seen Weiss. The size of the shadow wing descended through the clouds. Its scales shimmered like molten gold. Its wings cracked lightning through the air. Its roar shook the very foundations of the castle. Eric's eyes widened in recognition. "The Ember Tyrant," he whispered. "King of the ancient brood." Kayla stumbled backward. "This is a nightmare." "No," Auric said. "This is the return of the rightful rulers." Kayla shook her head violently. "I am not one of them. I'm not meant for this." The Ember Tyrant landed with thunderous force, claws digging deep into the earth, molten breath spilling between its teeth. All soldiers dropped their weapons in frozen terror. Its massive head lowered and stopped inches from Kayla. The beast inhaled deeply. Firelight pulsed across its scales. Kayla trembled, gripping the heart-dash stone, and then impossibly. The Ember Tyrant spoke into her mind. "Child of the speaker, you carry her flame." Kayla gasped, tears filling her eyes. "You knew her?" The dragon's voice echoed warmly within her skull. "We loved her, and we protected her until your father betrayed us." Auric closed his eyes in grief. Kayla swallowed hard. "What do you want from me?" she whispered. The dragon's eyes glowed with ancient fire. "To choose," Kella's breath caught. "To choose what?" "The fate of the kingdom." Behind her, the castle trembled. Soldiers fled. Servants screamed. The king rushed onto the balcony, sword drawn, face pale with fear. The dragons turned their heads toward him. Kayla realized something chilling. Both sides were waiting for her command. Auric stepped beside her, voice low. "Whatever you choose, the world will follow." Kayla looked up at the dragons, then back at the man who had lied to her all her life. She took a deep breath and spoke. The king of Arenthal stood frozen on the high balcony, staring down at the courtyard filled with dragons. His sword trembled in his hand. Firelight danced across the polished steel, reflecting a fear he could no longer hide. "Kayla," he shouted, voice breaking. "Step away from those beasts." But Princess Kayla didn't move. The Ember Tyrant lowered its massive head toward her again, molten eyes glowing with ancient patience. Behind it, the Shadow Wing curled its wings along the ground like a predatory sentinel, ready to defend her if needed. The king swallowed hard. He was surrounded by creatures he believed extinct. Creatures he had hunted, creatures that remembered every drop of spilled dragon blood. And his daughter now stood with them. Kayla. He repeated more quietly this time. You don't understand what you're doing. But Kayla did understand. For the first time in her life, she finally understood everything. Arik stepped forward, chains clinking softly. She knows enough, Your Majesty. The king's eyes narrowed as recognition dawned. You, he hissed. I remember you. The half-breed. I should have killed you myself. Eric's golden eyes flashed. You tried, but dragons do not die easily. Nor do their bloodlines. The king gripped his sword tighter. You have poisoned her mind. Kella's voice cut through the air. No, father. You poisoned my life with lies. The king stiffened, but she continued, stepping forward with trembling resolve. You told me mother died of fever. You told me dragons were monsters. You said the purge was necessary, but none of that was true. Soldiers on the walls watched silently. Some lowered their crossbows, sensing the truth unraveling. The king's jaw clenched. I did what I had to do, he said. Your mother was dangerous. She could hear dragons. She could control them. She was a threat to the realm or to your throne, Kayla demanded. The king flinched. A small reaction, but enough. Arik stepped beside her, voice low. Tell her the truth, king. Tell her why the dragons truly fled the skies. The king's gaze flickered to the dragons. The Ember Tyrant's fire crackled in deep warning. I protected this kingdom, the king snapped. Humans cannot live beside creatures that command the wind and fire. Dragons needed to die so our world could survive. Kayla stared at him with horror. You destroyed them because you feared them. The king did not deny it. Arik shook his head. You feared her, he said. You feared the power she carried? Power she passed to your daughter. Kayla lifted the glowing heartstone. It burned brighter with every heartbeat. You killed mother because she was a dragon speaker, Kayla whispered. The king clenched his teeth, then shouted, She would have brought ruin. She would have returned dragons to the throne. Silence fell. Even the wind seemed to stop. The Ember Tyrant's voice echoed inside every mind. We ruled before your walls were built. We kept balance before your kings drew breath. Kella's breath shook as she turned toward her father. You lied to protect power, not people. The king stepped back, desperate. Kayla, listen to me. Those creatures will use you. They will twist you against your own people. But Kayla unexpectedly stepped forward, closer to him. For 18 years, she whispered. I wondered why my heart never felt like it belonged in the castle. Why the wind called my name. Why I felt the sky instead of the throne. She raised the stone toward the dragons. The Ember Tyrant bowed again, wings folding. Kayla turned back to her father. I finally know why. The king raised his sword. Stay back. Kayla, I won't let these beasts take you. Arik moved instantly, but Kayla held out her hand, stopping him. No, let him speak. Let him show everyone his truth. The king's voice cracked. I lost your mother because she chose dragons over her own people. I won't lose you too. Kella's eyes softened for a brief moment. You lost her because you feared what you couldn't control. The king's expression twisted, fear, anger, regret tangled together. Then his voice dropped to a cold whisper. Then I will control what I can. He swung his sword, but he wasn't aiming at Kayla. He lunged for the heartstone. Arik shouted. The soldiers gasped. The dragons roared. But before Arik could reach them, before the dragons could react, the king's blade struck the heartstone. There was no shatter, no crack, only a blinding explosion of light. Kayla was thrown backward into the air. The king was hurled across the balcony. Arik shielded his eyes as flames spiraled upward. The courtyard filled with a scream not from Kayla, Not from the king, but from the Ember Tyrant. A roar of ancient agony. When the light faded, Kayla lay on the ground, eyes open, breath shallow. The Heartstone had dissolved into glowing embers around her. Eric rushed to her side. "Kayla, can you hear me?" Her lips parted. "I feel something," she whispered. "Inside me?" Arik froze. The Ember Tyrant lowered its head. Eyes wide, "The Heartstone has chosen," the dragon said. Kayla slowly rose to her feet, flames flickering faintly beneath her skin. Arik stepped back in awe. She carries the power of a dragon's heart. The king struggled weakly to stand, blood dripping down his forehead. "What? What have you done?" Kayla looked at him with eyes no longer fully human. "I didn't do anything, Father." Her voice echoed with two tones, one human, one dragon. "The dragons have chosen me." The Ember Tyrant lifted its wings. Fire swirling like a storm, the Dragon Queen rises. The kingdom trembled. Nothing would ever be the same again. Asterisk. The courtyard burned with molten light as Kayla stood at its center, half human, half flame, the remnants of the dragon Heartstone glowing inside her chest. Her eyes, once soft and uncertain, now flickered like embers caught in a storm. The Ember Tyrant lowered its head, bowing in ancient respect. Dragons circling above the castle dipped their wings, recognizing the rise of something not seen in centuries, a dragon queen, but Kella's father. The king staggered to his feet on the balcony, gripping the railing to steady himself. Blood streaked down the side of his face, but the wild hatred in his eyes burned brighter. "You abomination," he croaked. "You were supposed to be human." Kayla stood still, her new power humming beneath her skin, but her voice remained controlled. "I am human, and something more. Something you feared?" The king spat, "Because creatures like you bring ruin. The moment dragons return, kingdoms fall." Arik stepped forward, golden eyes glowing with warning. "No, king. Kingdoms fall when lies rot their throne." The king's hand slipped toward a dagger hidden at his belt. Arik moved, but Kayla lifted one glowing palm, stopping Arik with a single look. She no longer needed protection. The king's voice sharpened. "You think dragons love you? They will use you, twist you, consume you." The Ember Tyrant raised its head, molten breath curling from its jaws. "We do not consume our own." Kella's voice deepened, echoing with dragon resonance. "The only one who used me was you." The king's face twisted, age mixed with something else. Not just anger, fear. Not fear of dragons, fear of losing the crown. He straightened, shoulders squaring, masking his shaking limbs. "If you think I will surrender my throne to you," his voice broke, "you are mad." Kayla stared at him. "I don't want your throne." Those words froze the entire courtyard. Even Arik looked at her in surprise. The king blinked. "What?" Kayla stepped forward slowly. "I want the truth. I want peace. And I want dragons and humans to live without slaughter." Her father let out a laugh that cracked into madness. "Peace? There is no peace. There is power, and there are those who kneel beneath it." He pointed a trembling finger at her. "If dragons rise, then every kingdom will rise against you. They will hunt you. They will hunt the beasts. Blood will drown this land." Kella's flame dimmed, flickering with conflict. Eric stepped beside her. "He is not wrong," Eric murmured. "The other kingdoms will see dragons as a threat. They will not listen to reason." Kayla turned to him. "Then what do I do?" Eric's voice softened. "You choose what kind of queen you will be." The Ember Tyrant slowly lowered its massive head. "Child of fire, we follow your breath, not your crown." Kayla looked at the dragons, then at the terrified soldiers, then at her father. "My choice is simple," she said quietly. "I choose to stop the war before it begins." The king's expression flickered with triumph. "So you choose surrender?" "No." Kayla stepped forward, flames curling around her hands. "I choose truth." Toward the walls, raising her voice so the soldiers could hear. "Your king lied to you. He murdered dragon speakers. He killed my mother. He provoked the dragon's wrath. And for what? She gestured at him. A throne built on fear. Myrrh spread through the soldiers like wildfire. Some lowered their swords. Others stepped back from their king. The king's face paled. Lies, he shouted. All lies. Kayla lifted her palm, and a gentle flame hovered above it, not burning, not threatening, only glowing with truth. Ask yourselves, if dragons wanted us dead, why did they not burn the kingdom the moment they awoke? Silence. She stepped closer to her father. You created the enemy you feared, the king snapped. If they are not my enemies, then they are now. He raised his dagger toward the Ember Tyrant. Auric moved instantly, but he wasn't fast enough. Kella's flame flared, searing across the courtyard in a burst of golden fire, not to kill, but to shield. The dagger melted in her father's hand, dropping as molten metal. He screamed, clutching his burned fingers. Kayla looked at him with a heart torn in two. You leave me no choice. The Ember Tyrant stepped forward, but Kayla held out her hand. No, this justice belongs to me. Audiobook swallowed. The soldiers watched with wide eyes. Kayla approached her father, stumbled backward until the wall hit his back. You fear dragons because you could not control them, she said softly. But you could have chosen another path. Her father trembled, voice shaking. I did it to protect you, Kayla's voice cracked. You protected your crown. The Ember Tyrant's voice rumbled behind her. End him, and the kingdoms will bow in fear. Kayla closed her eyes. I do not want fear. She turned back to her father. You are no longer king. He stared at her, speechless. Kayla lifted her hand, flames rising like a sunrise, then slowly lowered it. I will not kill you, she whispered, but you will never harm anyone again. Auric stepped forward, binding the fallen king with chains forged from dragon magic, chains that tightened only in the presence of lies. The king screamed. As they locked around him, the soldiers dropped to one knee, and from above, dragons roared in unison, not in war, not in rage, in recognition. A new era had begun. The Night of Burning Crowns. Asterisk. The throne room of Blackstone Keep had never felt so cold. The torches flickered weakly. Frightened by the presence of dragons perched on shattered balconies high above, their wings filled the ancient chamber with shadows that crawled across the stone floor like living creatures. Kayla stood at the center, no crown, no armor, only the faint glow of fire pulsing beneath her skin. She didn't feel entirely human anymore, but she didn't feel like a dragon either. She felt like a bridge between worlds, a bridge that could easily break. Her father knelt before her, bound in dragon-forged chains. Every time he tried to speak a lie, the chains tightened, silencing him. He glared at her with a hatred so sharp it cut deeper than any blade. Behind her, Auric paced slowly, his silver hair drifting like smoke, his golden eyes reading every breath her father took. The kingdoms will move against us, Auric murmured. Your father was right about that much. The moment they see dragons alive, armies will rise. Kayla didn't look at him. I know, what will you do? Her voice was quiet, trembling with power she didn't yet understand. What I must. Before Auric could answer, the Ember Tyrant lowered its head through a collapsed section of the ceiling. Molten eyes locked on Kayla. Dragon Queen. The ancient dragon rumbled. The clans gather outside the walls. They await your command. Kayla inhaled sharply. She hadn't asked for this. She hadn't wanted this. Yet the fire inside her chest hummed with destiny not chosen, but born. The Shadow Wing landed beside the Ember Tyrant, its massive wings curling around its body like a cloak of night. The ancient oath must be renewed, it growled. The oath of flame. Kayla turned sharply. Oath of flame. Auric stepped forward, voice heavy. It is the oldest pact ever forged between dragons and humans. A pact that died when your father broke it. Kayla's heartbeat quickened. What does it require? Auric held her gaze. Unity. Sacrifice. Truth. He paused. And a leader who carries dragon fire in there. Blood, her stomach twisted. knew what he meant, but she couldn't accept it not. Yet, I'm not ready, she whispered. The Ember Tyrants. Breath steamed across the cold stone. Flame does not wait for readiness, burns. It demands. Before Kayla could respond, a loud horn echoed from outside the castle walls. Not a dragon horn, a human one. Auric tensed. The northern armies, they're arriving sooner than we thought. Kella's pulse spiked. Already? How? Her father chuckled bitterly. You underestimate me, daughter. I sent ravens before dawn. Every kingdom now knows dragons still live. The chains tightened around him, cutting off his breath. But he smiled through the pain, and they will come for you. Kayla felt fire rise inside her chest. Why would you doom your own people? Her father hissed. Better war than dragons, return to rule. Auric stepped forward, fury tightening his jaw. Your fear will burn this land to ash. Kayla raised her hand, stopping Auric. No, her voice shook. My choices will decide the fate of this kingdom, not his. Another horn echoed closer this time, then a third. Auric moved to the window. 12,000 soldiers, he said quietly. Banners from the North March, Ironwood, and the Southern Realms. All marching toward Blackstone. Kella's stomach sank. 3 kingdoms unified against them. She stepped closer to the Ember Tyrant. If I renew this oath, what happens to the humans gathered outside my walls? If you renew it, the tyrant rumbled, we will protect your kingdom with fire and scale. If you reject it, the clans will leave, and humans will destroy themselves. Kayla swallowed. This oath, does it make me your ruler or your slave? The Shadow Wing's eyes softened with something like respect. Neither. The oath binds us as partners. Flame to flesh. Wing too will. Auric stepped behind her, voice low. It binds you to dragons, and binds dragons to you. Their power becomes yours. Your fate becomes theirs. She shivered. And if I refuse? Auric exhaled. Then the dragons will return to the skies alone. And humans will face the truth of their own fear with steel, she understood. This wasn't a choice between war and peace. It was a choice between unity and extinction. Kayla closed her eyes. She saw her mother's face, soft, kind, filled with secrets she never had the chance to share. She heard her whisper, the sky belongs to all who breathe beneath it. Kayla opened her eyes. I will take the oath. Auric froze. The Ember Tyrant's flames flared. The Shadow Wing lifted its wings in a powerful salute. But Kayla continued, on one condition. The Ember Tyrant tilted its head. Speak, Dragon Queen.
Ow.
No kingdom will bend the knee. No human will be forced into servitude. There will be no empire of dragons. No throne of flame. She stepped forward. One girl. Standing before gods of fire, humans and dragons will stand as equals, partners, protectors, not conquerors. Long silence followed, then the Ember Tyrant bowed its colossal head, then let it be written in fire. Kayla exhaled shakily. The oath would begin, but outside the castle walls, the human armies had already drawn their swords, and not all dragons agreed with peace. The sky trembled as a roar echoed. Not from any dragon present. A rogue dragon clan had arrived, and they did not come to bow. They came for blood. The sky darkened not with clouds, but with wings, dozens of them. Black-scaled dragons marked with jagged scars and bone-white talons, circled above the castle like vultures waiting for death. Their roars shook the stone towers louder and more savage than any Kayla had heard. The Ember Tyrant stiffened. The Shadow Wing drew its head back, pupils narrowing into razor slits. Eric's jaw tightened. The Nightmaw clan. He whispered. Kayla looked up. They're dragons. Why do they look different? Eric's expression darkened, because they chose darkness over balance. They rejected the old laws. They follow only blood. As if to prove his words, a massive Nightmaw dragon dropped from the sky, landing on the outer wall with a thunderous crash. Its body was twice the size of any royal dragon Kayla had seen, scales rough like stone. Eyes white as frost, the Ember Tyrant growled. "Via Harith," Kayla whispered. "You know him?" The tyrant's fire flared. "He was once a prince of the Northern Brood. He betrayed us during the Purge. Sided with your father for gold and power. He is an enemy of all dragons." Kella's stomach twisted. Her father had made a pact with dragons. Arik spoke quietly. "Yes, not all dragons were victims in the Purge. Some were traitors." As Kayla absorbed this, Viharith roared, shaking snow off every roof in the keep. "Ember Tyrant." The rogue dragon bellowed. "You crawl from the ashes, only to bow to a human girl?" The Ember Tyrant's wings rose in visceral fury. "The oath is older than your greed, Viharith. It binds our kind to balance." Viharith snarled, steam hissing between his cracked teeth. "Balance is weakness. Power belongs to those who take it." Behind him, the Nightmaw dragons beat their wings, chanting with primal hunger, "Blood, blood, blood." Kayla stepped forward despite the terror knotting her ribs. "Why are you here?" she called, her voice echoing across the walls. "What do you want?" Viharith's head snapped toward her. His sour breath washed over the courtyard. "You." Kayla froze. Arik moved swiftly in front of her, golden eyes glowing like molten metal. "Over my dead body." Viharith laughed deeply. A rolling, gravelly sound. "Half-breed. You crawl back from the dungeons thinking you can stand in my way?" Shadowwing stepped beside Arik, eyes blazing with a cold fire. "He does not stand alone," the rogue dragons hissed. Kayla found her voice again, shaken but steady. "Why do you want me?" Viharith lifted his wings. "Because the power you carry should belong to dragons, not humans. You carry the Heartstone flame. Give it to us, and we will burn your enemies. Refuse, and we burn you." Dragons behind him roared approval, wings spread in violent rhythm. Kayla glanced at Arik. "He thinks I can give my power away?" Arik shook his head. "No, he wants to rip it out of you. The same way he tore the life out of dozens of dragon speakers." Kella's blood ran cold. The Ember Tyrant's voice dropped into a low, lethal growl. "Leave now, Viharith. The Oath of Flame rises again. The clans stand with the Dragon Queen." Viharith spread his jagged wings wide. "Not all clans." And then Kayla noticed not all dragons in the sky wore the scars of the Nightmaw clan. Some wore royal colors, reds, golds, silvers, dragons from other broods. Clans that should have been loyal to the Ember Tyrant. But now circled with Viharith, Kella's pulse spiked. Why are they with him? Arik's face darkened. Because Viharith promised them a new order, one where dragons rule again without humans. No oath, no balance. Kella's heart hammered. A war among dragons. A war among humans. And she stood in the center. Viharith roared again, louder. "Last chance, girl. Give us the fire inside you, or watch your kingdom burn." Kayla lifted her chin. Her fear melted into flame, steady, growing, claiming her veins with heat. "No." The single word reverberated through the courtyard. Viharith's eyes widened with fury. "Then die." He launched himself forward, a dark comet of muscle, wings, and hatred. Soldiers screamed. Towers shook. Snow flew into violent spirals. The Ember Tyrant surged upward to intercept him. "Kayla, run," Arik shouted. But Kayla didn't move. She raised her hands, and the fire inside her exploded. A shockwave of golden flame burst from her chest, blasting across the courtyard. The air rippled with heat. Armor glowed red. Snow vaporized instantly. The force halted Viharith mid-charge, slamming him against the outer wall. The stone cracked. Kayla gasped, staggering backward. Arik caught her. "That was incredible," he whispered. "But you can't control it yet." Kella's vision blurred. "I don't know how," The Ember Tyrant landed in front of her protectively. Facing the rogue dragons? Then you must learn now. In the sky. Viaharith fought to rise, scales smoking. You think that will stop me? He roared. I will tear her heart out myself. The Ember Tyrant stepped forward, wings unfolding. Not while I breathe. Behind them, the horizon filled with the lights of thousands of human soldiers approaching the gates. To wars. At the same time, from both sides, Eric's breath tightened. Kayla. We're out of time. Kayla looked at the dragons. At the armies. At the burning sky, the world was about to shatter. And she, the girl who once feared her own reflection, was the only force holding it together. She whispered, We fight. Asterisk. The ground shook beneath Kayla's feet as two storms, one of wings and one of steel, closed in on Blackstone Keep. Above her. The Nightmaw dragons circled like predators waiting for weakness. Their black scales glinted in the red glow of the rising flames. Their roars were sharp, violent, hungry, beyond the castle walls. 12,000 human soldiers marched in formation, torches blazing through the snow like a river of fire. Their banners whipped in the wind. North march wolves, ironwood spears, southern realm lions, all united against a threat. They did not understand. Kayla stood at the center of it all, her heart hammered in her chest, the Dragonstone's power flickering beneath her ribs like a trapped sun. Auric rushed to her side, breathing heavily. Kayla, we need a plan. I don't have one, she whispered. The Ember Tyrant lowered its colossal head beside her. You do not need a plan. You need clarity. The fire inside you will guide you. Kayla clenched her fists. I don't know how to control it. Eric touched her shoulder gently. You don't have to control it. You only have to direct it. Before Kayla could respond, a deafening roar split the sky. Viharith rose above the courtyard again. Da! Wings cracked but defiant. Smoke curled from his jaws as he glared down at her with pure hatred. I will rip the heart fire from your chest. The Ember Tyrant roared back. The very stones trembled. You will not touch her. Viaharith lunged, but a spear of lightning split the sky, striking the ground between them. Kalat gasped. What was that? Eric's eyes widened. Skycallers. Storm dragons. They're joining the battle, as if summoned. 3 sky-collared dragons descended from the clouds, their wings crackling with lightning. Their scales shimmering like storm clouds lit by moonlight. One landed behind Kayla, its wings folding with graceful power. Dragon Queen, it said, voiced like a rolling thunderstorm. We answered the Ember Tyrant's call. Kayla stared up at the storm dragon in awe. You came to help us? No, it corrected calmly. We came to help you. We sensed the heart fire awaken. Viharith snarled in rage at the new arrivals, traitors. The Nightmaw dragons dove as one, swarm of black wings and razor talons. Kayla stumbled back as the sky erupted into chaos. Dragons clashed midair. Lightning crashing through wings, fire spiraling like tornadoes, shadows slamming against clouds. The sky became a battlefield of titans, but the ground was about to become another. A horn blasted from beyond the walls deep, metallic, calling for death. Auric pulled Kayla aside. The human army's there at the gates. Kayla ran to the wall and looked out. Her breath froze. Thousands of soldiers marched in tight formations. Siege towers rolled across the snow. Ballistas gleamed with poison-tipped bolts. Battering rams slammed into the main gate. A single general stepped forward, raising his sword. Open fire. Flaming arrows soared through the air. Kayla's voice broke. No, no, stop. Auric looked at her in panic. They think the dragons are invading. They think you're possessed. Kayla, they don't know the truth. The gate shook violently. Wood splintered. Metal groaned. Kayla gripped the battlements, heart pounding. Ember Tyrant. She shouted. The ancient dragon turned mid-battle. Lightning and flame reflecting off his scale. Soldiers gasped. Some dropped their weapons. Some fell to their knees. Some screamed that a demon had descended. Kayla's voice carried through the frozen air. Stop. The flames dimmed. Her wings dissolved. Every soldier stilled. Kayla stood on the snow between two armies, between dragon and human, between war and ruin. I am Princess Kayla of Arenthal. She shouted, I speak for dragons and for humans. Murmurs rippled through the army. Step back, she cried. Lay down your weapons. This battle is not ours. A general stepped forward, fury burning in his eyes. You expect us to trust creatures who destroyed our clans? Who burned our cities? Kayla shook her head slowly. Not dragons. Humans burned those cities in the purge, on orders from the king. Gasps spread through the ranks. Some lowered their spears. Others looked shaken. The general's voice trembled. You're lying. Kayla raised her hand. Fire swirled not to burn, but to illuminate. It formed a memory above her head. A burning village dragon speakers hunted. Humans killing dragons, a young Auric chained, her mother begging for mercy. The truth, the soldiers stared. Horrified, Auric flew down beside Kayla in a burst of golden light. Half-dragon wings spread. This is your true history, he growled. Before the general could respond, a shadow fell across Fella, VHA Wrath. He crashed into the snow behind her. Massive claws extending toward her back. Auric roared. The Ember Tyrant dove. But Viaharith was closer. He hissed. Light, your heart fire is mine? And lunged. Viharith's massive shadow swallowed Kayla as he lunged, jaws wide, claws extended. His roar split the frozen air. Every soldier, every dragon, every heartbeat froze. Kayla spun, but she was too slow. Auric was not. He launched himself at Viaharith with a golden burst of flame, smashing into the rogue dragon's chest. The impact shook the ground, sending a shockwave rippling through the snow. Viaharith stumbled, but not for long. His claws slashed out. Raking across Eric's ribs, Eric hit the ground hard, blood streaking the snow. Kayla screamed, Auric. The rogue dragon turned his cruel eyes toward her. When I tear the heart fire from your chest, I will become the new god of dragons. Viaharith lunged again, but this time, Kayla didn't retreat. She stepped forward. Her flames rose. The fire inside her chest. Flame once trapped inside a dragon, heart spread through her veins, warming her skin, filling her lungs with molten light. Her voice echoed across the battlefield, layered with human and dragon tone. I am not afraid of you. Viaharith hesitated. Just long enough, the Ember Tyrant slammed into him from the side, pinning him against a shattered siege tower. The impact cracked wood and stone alike. You betrayed your kind. The tyrant roared, teeth snapping inches from Viharith's throat. You betrayed all of us. Viaharith hissed, shoving the tyrant back with one massive heave. I betrayed weakness. The shadow wing dove from above, claws raking across Viharith's wings. The rogue dragon spun, flames boiling from his throat, forcing the royal dragons to scatter. Kayla's heart pounded. This battle was tearing the world apart. She turned toward the human soldiers. Fall back, she shouted. Her voice burned through the air like a command written in fire. This is not your fight. Some soldiers obeyed instantly. Others struggled, torn by fear and confusion. The general stepped forward. Princess, what are you going to do? Kayla looked at the burning sky, at the dragons fighting for their future, at Auric bleeding in the snow, and this. She whispered. Kayla shot upward flames bursting from her feet, lifting her through the air. Her body glowed like molten steel, her hair whipping in fiery strands. Viharith turned toward her with a snarl. You cannot control dragonfire. Child, Kayla extended her hand. I don't need to control it. She released it. The fire that burst from her palm was not a flame, it was a wave. A shock, a tide of golden power that struck Viharith across the chest. He roared, crashing backward into the courtyard. Stone shattering beneath him, the Ember Tyrant and Shadow Wing pinned him from both sides, their wings locking him in place. Kayla descended slowly, Landing on broken stone before the fallen rogue, Viharith thrashed. Claws, carving trenches in the earth. You think you can kill me? You think you can take my place? Kella's eyes glowed brighter. I don't want your place. She stepped closer, flames curling off her fingertips. I want an end to the war, Viharith roared in rage. Trying to rise, Kella's fire expanded again, but this time, not outward, inward. Her chest flared with golden heat as she summoned the very core of the Heartstone's power. The ground trembled beneath her feet. Arik pushed himself up, bloodied, eyes wide. Kayla, note, your body can't handle. She looked at him with soft, burning eyes. It's the only way. Kayla touched Viharith's head and released all the fire inside her. Light erupted. A pillar of golden flame shot into the sky, bright enough to dye the clouds. Wind hurricanes tore across the courtyard. Snow lifted like dust in a storm. The blast silenced dragons, soldiers, even the armies beyond the walls. Viharith screamed. The flame did not burn his flesh. It burned the darkness inside him. The hatred, the corruption, the betrayal. His roars turned to gasps, then to silence. When the light faded, Viharith lay still. His eyes, once white with rage, were clear now. He whispered a single word. Peace. His breath slowed, stopped. The rogue clan above scattered in panic, their leader defeated. Some fled into the clouds. Others landed quietly